At the start of the pandemic's outpouring into Uganda, President Museveni became the staple of Uganda's televisions, issuing guidelines to contain the spread of the deadly virus. Men in uniform were seen enforcing guidelines day and night, arresting defaulters and often beating them up and shooting them. Most of these directives would later be gazetted as regulations in the Public Health Act and are now openly used to disperse crowds during campaigns. At this launch of a special issue on freedom of expression, access to information and assembly, law professors are weighing in on the impact of these guidelines to the freedom of expression and assembly.
All countries put COVID issues before their parliaments for debate and policy direction. The Uganda parliament has never met to discuss COVID. They only met to discuss how to dispense the monies. Sure, you cannot deal with a pandemic through a one-man monologue. Because even in those addresses, the questions, there are no journalists ask questions.
So you run COVID measures on a militaristic basis, top down, monolithic and very inflexible. You see, that is why its expectant mothers died. Not because, you see, the police were so cruel, but they feared for their jobs. You see, when you have military orders, you don't question, you don't say, I'll use common sense.
Professor Barya, a law donor at Makerere University, is questioning the legality of the president's directives.
The question of law or rule of law under COVID was totally ignored and set aside. First of all, they would enforce a speech before it was made into a regulation. They would simply arrest you, imprison you because of violating an opinion of the president, actually. Because before it is reduced into a regulation, it is an opinion.
You see, what we see that has happened, you see, when the police recently rioted and killed people, you see, is a logical result of all that.
The professors also question why the president ignored calls to postpone the election through a bill or declaration of a state of emergency to save the current confrontations between police and politicians. The Chief Justice, who officiated at the launch, said a state of emergency would have been worse.
But probably my old friend, Professor Barya, would today be attacking the declaration of a state of emergency. He would, because a declaration of a state of emergency is attended to by a raft of very unpalatable legislation, a lot more than what we are criticizing today.
Justice Owiny-Dollo, however, called for responsibility and dialogue as enforcing COVID regulations is increasingly becoming costly than the coronavirus itself.
We own this country together, and it's the more reason why we must promote dialogue more than belligerence. We must all act responsibly.
Uganda has so far registered 23,200 COVID-19 cases and 207 deaths, with the numbers threatening to shoot up during the political campaigns. Edward Mhumza, NTV.